An art therapist once told me that every work of art is a self-portrait. I think that's true, and something more happens when an artist works with another person as their subject. Something gets revealed about the person and about the artist in relation to that person. Whether it's a drawing, a piece of music, performance art, a poem, or a photograph, or an interview. When I made the first cross interview in May of 2024, over a year ago, it was an experiment. The experimental part of it was about translating what I had done with photography into the cross interview. I started photography as a teenager. What made me fall in love with photography back then was really that the camera was a tool, a sort of telepathic tool for the subject and the artist to communicate. There's a connection that happens when the photographer works with another person as their subject. After the picture has been snapped and the negatives developed and it's printed in the darkroom, the final image really reveals both people on either side of the camera. There will always be a part of the photographer's subconscious exposed in every picture that they take, and hopefully take the viewer deeper into the psyche of the individual. And so the same idea as with the cross interview, being that I am making the piece, I am editing it together with visuals and music. So when I was ready to set up my cross interviewing project,
So now we're recording.
where each elevates the other through the connection, I knew he'd be down for the experiment.
No?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a very big screen. I wonder if I like it this big. I think I do. Can't we make it like a square?
The idea was to make the interview into an art piece. I was curious about the psychology of the magic performer. It's not a very common profession or hobby, but the ones who get into it seem to stay very loyal to this art form throughout their lives. The inventor's mentality we spoke about makes them inquisitive types. They're thinkers. I could see that with my grandfather, who was always reading and seemed always eager to learn new things through conversation with others. Are magicians eternal students? Are they eternal children? Michael has a background in psychology and is also a school teacher in Macau.
Okay, so you're a magician, you do performance, and then I know you've got another career. I'm curious about how those two worlds interact.
Having background in psychology, tricks have their physical way of functioning. It helps because, we understand a little bit more of these things like misdirection, perception, diffusion of attention, and of course, then we synchronize this with movements and stills and ditches and loads and whatever techniques we use. And we combine this in the right way to create the so-called something that is not magic but looks like magic. I use it even to teach something. It's sometimes if you talk to people, they won't listen, but if you do something with your hands and something appears, then all of a sudden everybody's on you. And that's all it took. And then you just discard like it's the most natural thing, and then you continue to speak, but you grab them. It's good to experiment. It's sometimes it's not crystal clear, so that's again why it's important, I guess, to try to understand things. Why does it work? And it's a lot of fun. I do have some curiosities about the documentary that you did about your grandfather, because I do understand that you have a fictional side to it.
There was always this thing where I felt a connection with him. We had something in common.
The idea was that each elevates the other, which is a concept I believe in and have lived my life by, which was inspired by my grandfather, who lived his life as a traveling, performing stage magician, but also that he was very much into cross promotion. Each job he took on, it would always be a win-win situation where each elevates the other through their connection. This is something that I hold as a standard in my own life, just the very natural flow of each person and the energy that they give to each other.
I was going through some life changes and I ended up spending a lot of time alone. And I remember being at home one day and I'm like, I should try something different. Feeling that I had so many thoughts, ideas, visions, and things that I like, I should really put it together into a different format, a different aspect of like how I want to express myself. So that's how the painting came about. Which leads me to my first question to you. You wrote the documentary film on RFK Jr.'s book called The Real Anthony Fauci. How do you write a book adaptation to a film?
But The Real Anthony Fauci was interesting because that book, which is like a 500-page book, it's not written as a story. It's more encyclopedic in a way. And yet, when I was reading it, I felt like it was this sort of mystery thriller because it was all these pieces coming together over the past century, really, since the turn of the century, 1900, and talking about our health system and how it has come to be this sort of corrupt health system. May I ask you, Stu, what year was it again that you began at HBO?
1983. Had parties all the time because the budgets were wide open. Nobody stopped them from doing it. We had themes for the Halloween party. And the first couple were insane because everybody got dressed up as a Hollywood star, pumping the beer in the conference rooms, which was totally taboo. That was crazy. One year, our good friend George comes back and brings in some Apple computers, so the square ones. And I took interest in that. We got to know the people in the IT department. So I was the liaison between the two departments. That's how I met you.
Game of Thrones, I had no idea was going to be what it became. What was definitely special about it was that it was a lot like Sopranos. It was very family oriented and about relationships.
Hey!
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine, Carla.
I would love to hear about how you got into media. I mean, your father was a lawyer, and so did you ever think that that is the path you were going to take as well?
No, but I wish I had now, looking back.
In 1947, the committee investigated Hollywood, factory of America's imagination.
Are you a member of the Communist Party? Or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
That was the end of the Red Scare. Dad was the last one. And I'd like to think that was because his character was such that he could not be assailed for anything that he had done in his life. And it proved that this Joe McCarthy was just full of bluster.
Obviously, with being a nurse, talking about unlearning things, it's a very interesting road to be on, but I'm so grateful to be on the road. If somebody would have came up to me like 10 years ago and been like, 10 years from now, you're gonna have a whole new look on medical stuff, I would be like, I think you might have the wrong person. Forget the labels, people. Yeah. Okay? Like, forget the Republican, the Democrat, the conservative, the liberal, whatever the heck you want to say. Throw it all out. It doesn't mean anything. It's two wings of the same evil bird that's been happening for decades. Throw it out. And when you see what they're actually standing for, what they're actually trying to do, like Bobby with being so passionate and speaking out regarding the health of the future, the children.
It's that scripture that says, do not conform to the patterns of this world. Instead, be transformed by the renewing of your mind, allowing yourself to really trust and just have faith